Hi, I'm Rob Holbert.
I'm Norman Williams.
I'm David Brazier.
And we're with the Rob Holbert Group. Our group formed many years ago, probably about 15 years ago, as a conglomeration between many other groups. We kind of got people from Buster Brown Band and Road Crew and other bands, and we all played together in different environments and decided to put a group together, and here we are.
My thing was this music came to me through The Sound of Music, which was a movie back in the day, of course. Oscar and Hammerstein wrote the soundtrack and all of that. And I was really taken by that and started coming home and started playing some of the music already I hadn't played before. The hills are alive with the sound of music. That's it.
And you got to do it in Julie Andrews' voice, though.
The hills are alive. Yeah, that's what got me there. Okay, we're talking about 60s. Let me just go and put it out there.
You're old, man. You're old.
Yeah. So that kind of just got, wind to me, and then I had best friends that started playing music, and we started forming a band, and that's how that whole thing kicked off.
I started playing the guitar because my older brother, who I shared a room with, got one. He got a cheap one. Then my folks realized that I was more serious about it than he was. They bought me a better instrument, and for about a year I took lessons at the Boyd Guitar School in Oak Cliff. It's a school that Jimmy Bond got kicked out of because he and Mr. Boyd didn't get along. I took lessons from Mr. Boyd for a little bit, but then started taking from his assistant, Jesse, because Jesse would teach you Proud Mary and Venus and all the rock songs. Mr. Boyd was teaching you September Song and Autumn Leaves and all of this. And I probably would have been a better player if I'd stuck with Mr. Boyd. And then there were all these cowboy posters in the, singing cowboy posters in the guitar school, which I thought were amusing at the time, and it wasn't until 20 years later that I found out that those were Mr. Boyd and his brother, and they had a radio show, and he's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he wrote Under the Double Eagle, which was this big instrumental Western hit, but I was more interested in learning the bridge to There's a Bad Moon Rising than, I missed out on all this history and stories and stuff, but anyway, that's the long version of how I got involved with guitar.
Honestly, saxophone was not my first choice. I started playing piano, violin, and viola when I was a little kid. And my father, who was not a musician, he sang in the choir at church and that was it, but he loved saxophone. So I was also playing drums at the time. I had to be 8, 9 years old. They bought me a little drum set. I loved James Brown. I would put on the James Brown record and play every lick on the drums. Well, when I got into the 7th grade, about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, my band director, his name was Thomas McLean, was a saxophone player. My dad loved saxophone. So when the band director asked every kid, what do you want to play? And all the kids would go up, I want to play drums, I want to play whatever. And I walked up there, and way back then I was a little bitty guy. I mean, I was tiny. And I walked up and I went, he goes, Little Holbert, what do you want to play? I don't know why they call me Little Holbert, I guess because I was little. And he said, what do you want to play? I said, I want to play drums. And he looked at me one time and said, saxophone, and grabbed me by the collar and shoved me out of the way. Well, I didn't know, even to this day, no one has admitted it, but I know my dad talked to Mr. McLean and had him steer me in that direction. So that's how I ended up playing saxophone, and I'm really happy I did because I love the instrument. It's a beautiful sound. Well, not that mine's all that great, but it is a beautiful instrument, very expressive. So that's how I ended up playing saxophone and been doing it all my life. I still play keyboard a little bit. I won't bring it out to a gig because Norman would embarrass me if I tried to.